What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Kevin Jackowitz. This is the Kaged Review. And look, man, there has been some big debate right now over the Speaking Out hashtag movement that's really come from the wrestling industry. Now, if you're not familiar, Speaking Out is apparently a bunch of women throughout the history of the wrestling industry they've always been kind of objectified, but now we find out that there are a lot of male wrestlers who've gone way too far and actually sexually assaulted, raped, or made extremely uncomfortable women in the business. And there have been men who have come forward too, saying that guys have come on to them. Or maybe worse, because let's be honest, women do not hold the corner market on rape. I can attest to that. And actually, before I really get into this, I should preface this by saying this is a very personal subject matter for me because I was molested as a kid. And at 17 years old, I was actually held captive in a man's house with 8 trained guard dogs, and I was raped in there, and he got off on scaring the shit out of me with his guard dogs, give them a command, and they'd be snarling in my face. It was a pretty extreme situation, and I'm very lucky to be here now to talk about it, but I talk about it openly because I hope that, that translates into this conversation. So there was one female wrestler who went on Twitter and she told her story. And then one guy, I'm going to paraphrase here very loosely, but it sounds like there was a bunch of people that got drunk and you regretted what you did the next day. And so now you're changing history, basically. And he got a lot of crap for that. And I actually came to his defense, and one reason why. And I want to be very specific here because I was very specific there, but people could only hear one thing. And there was this one lady in particular who could not get past the fact that I was supposedly relating this to the actual story that the wrestler was talking about. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking a specific set of circumstances. And I want that to be embedded here because that is important. So I said, look, if this girl happened to be drunk and this guy happened to be equally drunk and they happened to say that, you know what, they were going to have sex, get wild, apparently there was more than one person, more than 2 people, if it's something like that, you can't say that it was rape for one person and not say that it was rape for the other. If you get drunk and you make a choice with a drunk person and things happen and you regret it, then you chalk it up to you made a fucking stupid decision. But you don't call it rape because if you do, he can too. And that was the point I was trying to make, that specific set of circumstances. Now, if she's completely incapacitated and he's fully conscious of what he's doing, no debates, no arguments, that is sexual assault. We already have that defined. If she's really tipsy and he's really not so much, that's still enough gray area that that's sexual assault if she says it is. So, but once you start saying, oh, well, we were both drunk and something happened, well, that's a very fine line and a very hazy line at that. So, what I'm doing is I am coming to the defense of this because, unfortunately, you can't just say, believe the accuser anymore. As much as I would love to be able to say we can all say that, it's not the truth. Because there have been a lot of false claims. And there are people who do things like this just for spite nowadays. They just want to hurt somebody's image publicly. Or they want some kind of revenge. And so, in a situation like this, I don't believe the accuser. I don't believe the accused. I don't believe the woman. I don't believe the man. I believe the facts. And a lot of people say that as a tagline. It's not a tagline for me. I actually do believe it. When I hear a situation like this, I don't jump straight to somebody's defense. Not the man, not the woman, not the accused, not the accuser, none of that. I don't jump to anybody's side because I wasn't fucking there and I don't know what happened, and neither were you. The only people that were the people involved. And that's something I think really people need to get on the same page with, because while this particular woman on Twitter was accusing me of defending the guy who was being accused, she'd already had him tried, convicted, and murdered for something we don't even know if he did. Now, I am not saying that I didn't agree with what the woman was saying in her accusation, or I didn't believe her. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying I believe her. I'm not saying I disbelieve her. If you understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, I don't know. I wait for the facts. And when the facts come in, then I make my decision. If the facts never come in, then I just have to admit that I don't know because I wasn't there. So, with this Speaking Out movement, you've had people apparently come forward that have been harassing people for a long time, that have been making false accusations, that this person has a paper trail of doing stuff like this, making these accusations that seem to be wholly false. And that's the reason why you just don't jump on a bandwagon because somebody says something. And it certainly sucks. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying that it's the right thing to do, but this is the world we live in. And with the world we live in, we have to act within the bounds of reality, which is you can't just hear somebody cry, this guy did this to me, or this person did this to me, and accept it as gospel, because sometimes it's not gospel. Unfortunately, there have been a lot of recent accusations that have been proven true, though. And that's the really disturbing part of this whole situation. Because whether we agree with what I'm saying right now or not, there have absolutely been a lot of men in the wrestling industry that have apparently been found to have sexually assaulted people or made statements that they would like to sexually assault somebody. And there's something wrong with that industry. Like, there's always been shit that's been off with that industry, but this is like a whole new level. All of this coming to light right now, I think it's huge. And I think it really needs to be fixed. This industry is completely broken, obviously. There are already entire organizations that have shut their doors over this kind of stuff. So it is, I mean, it's unfortunate, man. It's really sad to see. It really is. I hate to see it. I think it hurts the business as a whole. I think it hurts individuals. Sorry, I had a loose hair. So yeah, man, I feel like, you know, a lot of people that I thought were very cool, have turned out to be incredible pieces of shit. But at the same time, you know, not every accusation is genuine. And so when I came to this guy's defense on Twitter, I was talking about one specific set of circumstances, and I need that to be clear. I had talked about wasted consent, and she came back to me with wasted consent is a myth. No, wasted consent is something I just made up because I have 140 characters. What I mean is, if you get drunk, and let's face it, how many people have been drunk, still functioning, but didn't remember big parts of the night before? I know I have. I know a lot of other people have too. I know a lot of my friends have. So I know it's not just me. So if two people make that choice while in that state of inebriation, no matter how many people there are, it was a choice. And that's what I'm saying, is there's a very fine line, because at one point, it's either everybody got raped or nobody did. So if there's a claim of rape in that situation, you got to be very careful, because then, by rights, the other person should be able to turn around and say, well, okay, I was drunk too. She took advantage of me. Where do you draw that line? And so that's just a little food for thought. you have to take in all things. You have to look at every angle in a situation like this. And when the facts come out, you act on the facts. But until then, this is what we have. So ladies and gentlemen, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackowitz, Kaged Nation, out.